Hey, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're enjoying your life, or at least trying to. If you're a student right now, you already know how heavy things can get. And today, I want to talk about something we all feel but rarely say out loud. The pressure. The endless, suffocating weight of expectations. It starts before you even step into college. Your parents tell you how important your future is. Relatives ask, "So, what are you going to do with your degree?" Teachers warn you, if you don't take this seriously, you'll regret it later. Society whispers, if you fail, you'll be left behind. And suddenly, you're not just carrying books in your bag, you're carrying everyone's hopes and dreams too. You sit in class, nodding along, pretending you've got it all figured out. But deep down, you're just trying to survive. You want to make your family proud. You want to prove to yourself that you're capable. But at the same time, you feel like you're faking it. Like at any moment, someone's going to find out. You're not as smart or as strong as you're pretending to be. That's the thing nobody tells you about being a student. It's not just about learning equations, theories, or facts. It's about fighting battles inside your own head every single day. The battle between who you are and who you're expected to be. The battle between what you want and what people tell you to want. The battle between being okay and pretending to be okay. You tell yourself, it's fine, I can handle it. But at 2 a.m., when you're staring at your laptop screen, exhausted, overwhelmed, and wondering how the hell you're supposed to finish everything on time, you don't feel fine. You feel like you're drowning. And the worst part, everyone around you seems to be swimming just fine. They look like they've got it all together. Smiling, laughing, posting pictures of their perfect college life. And you're silently falling apart, afraid to admit it, because the moment you do, people will say, "Stop complaining. At least you're in college." But you know what? That's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Yes, being in college is a privilege, but that doesn't make the struggle any less real. Privilege doesn't erase pain. You can be grateful and exhausted at the same time. You can be thankful for the opportunity and still hate how much it drains you. So if you've ever felt this weight, the expectations, the pressure, the constant fear of failing, I just want to tell you this. You're not alone. Every student carries it. Some hide it better than others. But behind every smile in your classroom, behind every confident voice, there's someone who has cried themselves to sleep. There's someone who has questioned if they're enough. And maybe right now that someone is you. Let's be honest. College isn't just a test of how smart you are. It's a test of how much stress, anxiety, and loneliness you can endure without breaking. Think about it. You wake up already tired even after sleeping for hours. You drag yourself to class, not because you're motivated, but because attendance matters. You sit there, your body present, but your mind miles away. Thinking about deadlines, grades, money, or maybe about nothing at all because you're just numb. Mental health struggles are something almost every student faces, but nobody really talks about. Why? Because in college, we've learned to wear masks. That smile you give your friends. A mask. That "I'm fine" when someone asks if you're okay. A mask. That laugh in the group chat when deep down you're falling apart. Another mask. And the scary part is, you've worn the mask for so long, you've almost convinced yourself it's real. But behind closed doors, when nobody's watching, the reality hits. You're crying quietly in your room, wondering why it feels like the world is against you. You're scrolling endlessly on your phone at 3 a.m., trying to escape your own thoughts. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, asking yourself questions you don't even have answers to. Why am I like this? Why can't I just be normal? Why does everyone else seem okay while I'm struggling to breathe? It feels unfair, doesn't it? Because you're not just fighting assignments, projects, and exams. You're fighting your own mind. And sometimes that's the hardest battle of all. Nobody talks about the panic attacks that hit out of nowhere. Nobody talks about skipping classes, because the thought of walking into that lecture hall feels impossible. Nobody talks about lying in bed all day, not because you're lazy, but because you physically can't move. And when you finally gather the courage to open up, what do people say? Don't be dramatic. Everyone's stressed in college. Just get over it. But it's not that simple, is it? It's not about just getting over it. It's about carrying an invisible weight that no one else can see. It's about fighting battles no one else even knows exist. And yet, despite all of this, you still show up. You still wake up. You still attend classes. You still push through, even when every part of you is screaming to give up. That's strength. Even if you don't see it, even if you don't believe it, that's real strength. So if you've ever felt like your mind is your worst enemy, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And the fact that you're still here, still trying, still breathing, that means you're stronger than you think. Let's talk about something every student knows too well: being broke. College isn't just about lectures and exams. It's also about constantly trying to survive with an empty wallet. You know the drill: waiting for that tiny paycheck from your part-time job, stretching $10 for the whole week, and pretending you're not hungry when your friends ask if you want to eat out. It's funny, isn't it? People outside think college students are living this fun, exciting life. Parties, freedom, independence. But what they don't see is you checking your bank account and seeing $2.36 left. They don't see you skipping meals because you can't afford both groceries and textbooks this week. They don't see you working 20 hours, a week on top of classes just to pay rent and textbooks. Don't even get me started. A single book costs more than your monthly food budget. You walk into the campus bookstore, check the price tag, and immediately start Googling PDF free download, like a hacker trying to break into the Pentagon. Then there's tuition. Thousands of dollars for classes where the professor just reads off the slides. Thousands of dollars for a degree that some days you're not even sure will guarantee a job. And every semester, that number grows bigger, scarier, heavier, like a debt-shaped shadow following you everywhere. You tell yourself it's worth it. You tell yourself it's an investment. But it's hard to believe that when you're working late nights at a coffee shop, barely making enough to cover the interest on your loans. And the worst part, money controls everything. It controls whether you can eat 3 meals a day. It controls whether you can buy the laptop you need for assignments. It controls whether you can hang out with your friends or stay home because you're too broke to split the bill. Sometimes it feels like you're missing out on the college experience everyone talks about, because your reality isn't frat parties or road trips. It's budgeting down to the last penny, choosing between bus fare or lunch, and praying your card doesn't decline in front of the cashier. But here's the thing. If you're living like this, you're not alone. So many students are. Some just don't admit it. They'll swipe their card and smile, but inside, they're panicking, wondering if the payment will even go through. And yet, despite all of this, you keep going. You find ways to survive. You learn how to live on instant noodles. You find free PDFs. You hustle through part-time jobs, tutoring gigs, and online side hustles just to scrape by. And that right there, that survival, is strength. Because even though you're broke, even though the system feels stacked against you, even though you're constantly worried about money, you're still here. You're still trying. You're still pushing forward day after day. One day when you look back, you'll realize just how strong you were for surviving a time when everything felt impossible. You know what's strange about college? You can be surrounded by people every single day and still feel completely alone. You walk across campus with hundreds of students passing by. You sit in lecture halls filled with noise, chatter, and laughter. You scroll through group chats filled with memes and jokes. But deep down, you feel like nobody really sees you. It's not that you don't have friends. Maybe you do. Maybe you even hang out sometimes. But there are nights where you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and you realize you've never felt more isolated in your life. That's the thing about loneliness. It's not always about being physically alone. Sometimes it's about being emotionally disconnected. It's about laughing with a group of people but feeling like you don't belong. It's about walking into a cafeteria full of students and wondering if anyone would notice if you weren't there tomorrow. It's about sitting in your dorm, hearing laughter outside, and feeling like the whole world is moving forward without you. And the worst part, you don't even know how to explain it. Because if you try, people say, but you have friends, or, but you're always around people. They don't get it. They don't understand that loneliness is more than just physical presence. It's about connection. It's about being understood. It's about feeling like you matter to someone. College can be isolating because everyone is busy chasing something. Their degree, their career, their relationships. Everyone is trying to survive. And sometimes in that chaos, you get lost. You become background noise in your own life. There's also this pressure to always look happy, to always show that you're living your best life. So you post pictures, share stories, smile in group selfies, and yet when the notifications fade and the screen goes dark, you're left with silence. And that silence can feel louder than anything else. Have you ever had that moment where you wanted to call someone, anyone, just to talk? But then you stare at your phone, scroll through your contacts, and realize you don't know who to call. Not because you don't have numbers saved, but because you don't know who would actually listen. That's loneliness. And it's one of the hardest struggles to admit, because saying it out loud feels like admitting you're unloved, unwanted, invisible. But that's not the truth. The truth is, so many students are going through the same thing. They're just hiding it, the same way you are. The kid who always sits alone in the back row. The one who always wears headphones. The one who leaves the party early. Chances are, they feel the same way. And yet, here's something important to remember. Loneliness doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you'll always feel this way. It just means you're human. You crave connection. You want to be understood. And that's okay. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a small step. Send that message. Join that club. Start that conversation. Not because it'll fix everything instantly, but because it reminds you that you're not invisible. And if you're listening to this and you've been carrying that heavy silence, I want you to know something. You matter. Your existence matters. Even if you don't feel it right now, you are not as alone as you think. Let's be real for a second. Every student has done this. You sit down to study, open your laptop, open your notes, and then somehow you end up on YouTube or scrolling TikTok or deep inside a random Wikipedia rabbit hole about penguins. 2 hours later, nothing's done, and panic starts to creep in. That's procrastination, and it's the silent enemy of every student. You tell yourself, I'll start in 5 minutes. Then 5 minutes turn into 30. Then 30 turns into, okay, I'll start after dinner. And before you know it, it's 1 a.m. The assignment is still untouched. And you're bargaining with yourself like a hostage negotiator. The thing about procrastination is, it feels good in the moment. You avoid the stress by distracting yourself. You convince yourself you'll have plenty of time later. But later always comes crashing down, and when it does, it hits hard. Because now, you're not just stressed about the assignment, you're also drowning in guilt. Guilt for wasting time. Guilt for not being disciplined. Guilt for breaking promises you made to yourself. It becomes a cycle. You procrastinate because the task feels overwhelming. You feel guilty for procrastinating. That guilt makes the task feel even more overwhelming. And so, you procrastinate again. And the cycle continues, night after night. Sometimes it's not even about laziness. Sometimes it's fear. Fear that you'll do the work and it won't be good enough. Fear that you'll try and still fail. So instead of facing that fear, you avoid it. You delay it. You tell yourself you'll do it later. But here's the truth. Procrastination doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you're human. It means you're overwhelmed, maybe even scared. It means you're struggling to carry everything at once. And yet, even in those final desperate hours, when the deadline is looming, when the caffeine is kicking in, when your fingers are flying across the keyboard, like a maniac, you somehow manage to pull it off. The essay gets submitted. The project gets done. The work isn't perfect, but it's finished. And in that moment, you feel both relief and regret. Relief that it's over. Regret that you waited until the last second. But the cycle doesn't stop, does it? Because as soon as the next assignment comes around, it starts again. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Every student goes through it. Some admit it, most don't. But behind every "I pulled an all-nighter" story is a cycle of procrastination and guilt that eats away at us. So if you're stuck in that loop right now, let me tell you this. Forgive yourself. You're not the only one. You're not a failure because you procrastinate. You're just human, trying to survive in a system that demands way too much, way too fast. And maybe next time, you'll start earlier. Maybe you won't. But either way, you'll keep going. Because that's what students do. We push forward even when we're a mess, even when we're late, even when we're exhausted. If you've ever sat in a classroom and felt like the walls were closing in, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. The classroom isn't just a place to learn, it's a battlefield. A battlefield of competition, comparison, and silent judgment. You walk in, sit down, and immediately notice the students who always seem 2 steps ahead. The ones who raise their hands confidently, who answer every question with ease, who get grades you can only dream of. And while you clap for them, a small part of you whispers, "Why can't I be like that?" The truth is, college often feels less like learning and more like constantly proving yourself. You're not just learning the subject, you're competing against everyone else in the room. Every quiz, every exam, every assignment feels like a test of your worth. And professors? Some are amazing, but let's be honest, some make it worse. The ones who act like their class is the only one that matters. The ones who pile on assignments without realizing you have 4 other courses demanding the same thing. The ones who belittle you when you ask a question, making you feel stupid for even trying. Then come the exams. The dreaded exam halls, the cold silence, the sound of pencils scratching against paper, the tension thick enough to choke you. You sit there staring at the first question, your brain suddenly blank, your heart pounding like a drum, and all you can think is, "I knew this last night. Why can't I remember it now?" That's the pressure. Not just the fear of failing the test, but the fear of what failing means. Failing doesn't just mean a bad grade. It means disappointing your parents. It means questioning your intelligence. It means comparing yourself to everyone else who did better and wondering if you even belong here. And sometimes it's not even about failing. Sometimes it's about not being the best. Because in college, being average feels like failing. When everyone else is chasing A's, settling for a B feels like admitting you're not good enough. That constant comparison eats at you. You look at the student who finished the exam early and think, "They must be smarter than me." You look at the one who got a higher grade and think, "They'll succeed and I won't." It never ends. But here's what nobody tells you. Everyone is struggling. Even the ones who look confident, even the ones who get good grades, even the ones who seem like they have it all together. They're stressed too. They're doubting themselves too. They're just hiding it better. The classroom pressure is real. It makes you question yourself, doubt your abilities, and sometimes even hate the subject you once loved. But the fact that you keep showing up, even when it feels unbearable, that's proof of your strength. Grades will come and go. Professors will come and go. But the lessons you're learning about resilience, about pushing through pressure, about not giving up even when everything feels stacked against you, those lessons will stay with you forever. So the next time you're in that exam hall, heart racing, palms sweating, staring at a question you don't know the answer to, take a breath. Remind yourself that one test, one grade, one class does not define your worth. You are so much more than a letter on a paper. College isn't just about classes and grades. It's also about the people you meet, the friends you make, the relationships you start, the connections that shape your experience. And honestly, this part can be just as hard as the academics. Let's talk about friendships first. When you start college, everyone tells you, These will be the best years of your life. You'll make lifelong friends. And maybe that's true for some. But for many, friendships in college feel like shifting sand. One day you're inseparable, the next day you're drifting apart. Schedules get busy, priorities change. People you thought would always be there slowly fade into the background. Sometimes you fight, sometimes you just grow apart. And suddenly the group chat goes silent. The hangouts stop, and you're left wondering what went wrong. And that hurts, because friendship in college isn't just about fun. It's survival. They're the people you cry with after a bad grade. The ones who lend you notes when you miss class. The ones you sit with in the cafeteria so you don't feel alone. When those connections fade, it feels like losing a piece of yourself. Then there are relationships, the romantic kind. College is full of them. The late night texts, the study dates, the we're in this together kind of love. And when it's good, it feels like the best thing in the world. That one person who makes the stress bearable, who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. But when it falls apart, it cuts deep. Because heartbreak in college isn't just about losing a person, it's about losing your safe space. The one person who made you feel seen. And when they're gone, every hallway, every classroom, every corner of campus feels like a reminder. And let's be real, college relationships are messy. People are still figuring themselves out. They're juggling their own stress, their own insecurities, their own battles. Sometimes love gets lost in the chaos. Sometimes people change and the relationship can't keep up. And yet, no one really prepares you for how much it affects you. How hard it is to study for an exam when your heart is broken. How lonely campus feels when the person you used to walk with isn't there anymore. How heavy it feels to scroll past their posts, pretending it doesn't hurt. But here's the thing, both friendships and relationships in college teach you something important. They teach you about trust, about patience, about letting go. They show you who's really there for you and who was just passing through. They remind you that not everyone is meant to stay, and that's okay. Because the truth is, you don't need dozens of friends. You don't need the perfect relationship. You just need a few real ones. The people who check in on you when you're quiet. The ones who stick around even when you're at your worst. The ones who don't disappear when life gets messy. And if you haven't found them yet, don't worry. College can feel lonely, yes, but somewhere out there are people who will understand you, who will see you, who will make this journey a little less heavy. So don't lose hope. Friendships may fade, relationships may break, but new ones will come, and the ones that truly matter will stay. College isn't just about classes and grades, it's also about the people you meet, the friends you make, the relationships you start, the connections that shape your journey. And honestly, this part can be just as tough as academics. When you first start college, people say, these will be the best years of your life. You'll make lifelong friends. And maybe that's true for some, but for many, friendships feel like shifting sand. One day you're inseparable, the next you're drifting apart. Schedules get busy, priorities change. People you thought would always be there slowly fade. The group chat goes silent, the hangouts stop, and you're left wondering what went wrong. That hurts, because friendship in college isn't just about fun, it's survival. They're the ones who share notes when you miss class, who sit with you in the cafeteria so you don't feel alone, who pick you up after a breakdown. When those connections fade, it feels like losing a piece of yourself. Then there are relationships, the romantic kind. College is full of them, late night texts, study dates, that we're in this together kind of love. And when it's good, it feels like the best thing in the world. The one person who makes stress bearable, who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. But when it ends, it cuts deep. Because it's not just losing a person, it's losing your safe space. Every hallway, classroom, even social media post becomes a reminder. And no one tells you how hard it is to study for an exam with a broken heart, or how lonely campus feels when the person you used to walk with is gone. College relationships are messy. People are still figuring themselves out, Juggling stress, insecurity, and change. Sometimes love can't survive the chaos. And yet, even the heartbreak teaches you something. Friendships and relationships, whether they last or fade, teach you about trust, patience, and letting go. They show you who's really there for you and who was just passing through. The truth is, you don't need dozens of friends or a perfect relationship. You just need a few real ones. The ones who check in when you're quiet, who stay even when you're at your worst, who don't vanish when life gets hard. And if you haven't found them yet, don't lose hope. College can feel lonely, yes, but somewhere out there are people who will see you, understand you, and make the journey a little lighter. Friendships may fade, relationships may break, but new ones will come, and the ones that truly matter, they'll stay. When you were younger, you probably had a dream. Maybe you wanted to be an artist, a writer, a musician, a designer, maybe even start your own thing. Back then, it felt possible, like the world was wide open and you could be anything. But then you got older, you entered college, and reality hit. Suddenly, people start asking practical questions. How will you make money with that? Are you sure that's a real career? Don't you want something stable? And little by little, your dream gets pushed to the side. You stop drawing as much. You stop writing for fun. You stop playing that instrument. You start focusing on what's safe, what's realistic, what's acceptable. Because college isn't just about finding yourself. It's about fitting into a system that tells you success means a certain kind of job, a certain kind of salary, a certain kind of life. And if your dream doesn't fit into that box, people make you feel like it's worthless. So now you're stuck in this painful place. You want to chase your dream, but you're scared of failing. You want to make your family proud, but you don't want to lose yourself in the process. That's the battle every student fights in silence. The battle between passion and practicality. And the scariest part, sometimes you start to lose your dream completely. You get so caught up in deadlines, assignments, and survival that you forget what you even wanted in the first place. You start living on autopilot, following a path someone else chose for you, hoping it'll lead to happiness. But here's the truth. Your dream still matters, even if it feels far away, even if people don't believe in it, even if right now you don't have the time or money to chase it fully. The fact that it exists inside you means it's worth something. Reality will always try to weigh you down. Bills, jobs, responsibilities, they're real. Yes, but your dreams, they're real too. And they're what give you a reason to keep going. So maybe you can't fully chase them right now. Maybe you have to compromise, to balance, to take small steps instead of giant leaps. That's okay. What matters is that you don't let go completely. Because the saddest thing isn't failing at your dream. It's never trying at all. One day, you'll look back at this time. You'll remember the struggle, the pressure, the endless nights of doubt. But you'll also remember that spark inside you, the thing you always wanted. And you'll realize it was never too late to chase it. So don't bury your dream just to survive reality. Carry both. Struggle with both. Believe in both. Because one day, your reality might just catch up with your dream. Here's the thing about being a student. It's not all darkness. Yes, it's heavy, exhausting, and sometimes feels unbearable. But in between all that chaos, there are these small, fleeting moments that make you stop and think, maybe it's worth it. Like when you stay up all night studying, your eyes burning, your brain fried, and then you see that grade come back better than you expected. Not perfect, maybe not even amazing, but enough to make you smile. Enough to make you whisper to yourself, I did it. Or those days when you're walking across campus, headphones in, the sun hitting just right, and for a few minutes, everything feels peaceful. You forget the deadlines, the pressure, the expectations, and you just exist. And that feels good. Sometimes it's smaller than that. That one professor who actually believes in you. That friend who checks in when you go quiet. That coffee that tastes extra good on a rough morning. That laugh you share in the middle of a stressful week. These moments may not fix everything, but they keep you alive. They remind you that even in the struggle, life isn't all bad. And then there are the big moments, the milestones. Passing a tough exam, landing an internship, finishing a presentation you thought you'd mess up. Those victories might not mean much to anyone else, but to you, they're proof. Proof that maybe you're not as lost as you think. Proof that you can do hard things. The truth is, being a student is like walking through a storm. Most days, it feels like the rain won't stop. But every now and then, the clouds break. The sun shines through. And for that moment, you feel free. And those moments matter. They matter because they remind you of why you're still here. They give you just enough strength to keep moving forward. Because sometimes, survival isn't about having endless motivation or perfect discipline. It's about finding one reason, no matter how small, to keep going. So if you've been struggling, I want you to think back. What's one small win you've had recently? One moment of peace? One thing that made you smile? That's your reminder. That's your proof. You're not failing. You're surviving. And survival itself is victory. Hold on to those moments, because no matter how dark it gets, they're the sparks that light your way. Ask any student what scares them the most, and you'll hear the same answer. The future. It's strange, isn't it? You spend years in school preparing for the real world. But when it finally gets close, you don't feel ready. You feel terrified. Because here's the truth. College doesn't really prepare you for life. It prepares you for exams and life. Life is a test with no syllabus, no study guide, no answer key. At 2 a.m., your brain fills with questions. What if I can't find a job? What if I disappoint my family? What if I choose the wrong path? What if I never figure out what I want? And those what ifs eat at you. You look around and see other students landing internships, securing job offers, or planning their perfect 5-year future, and suddenly you feel behind. Like the race has started and you're still tying your shoes. But here's what most won't admit. Almost everyone feels this way. Even the ones who look like they have it all figured out. Because the truth is, no one is ever fully ready for the future. Not at 18, not at 22, not even at 30. And that's both the scary part and the comforting part. The scary part is that there are no guarantees. You can work hard and still struggle. You can plan everything and still watch it fall apart. But the comforting part is this. You're not alone in that fear. Every student, every graduate, every adult pretending to have it together has felt the same panic you feel now. The fear of the future isn't really about jobs or money. It's about uncertainty. Humans hate not knowing. We crave control. But the future, it's unpredictable. And that's what keeps you up at night. But hear this. It's okay not to have it all figured out. It's okay if your path isn't clear. Life isn't a straight line. It's messy, unpredictable, full of detours you never expected. Think about it. Did you predict every friendship you've made? Every challenge you've overcome? Every way you've grown? Probably not. And yet, here you are. You survived all of it. So maybe the future doesn't have to be something you fear. Maybe it can be something you build, piece by piece, mistake by mistake, step by step. Because the truth is, no one ever feels ready. You just leap anyway, and somehow, along the way, you learn how to fly. Here's the thing about student life. The hardest battles are the ones no one sees. Sure, people see you in class, see you walking around campus, see you laughing with friends. On the outside, you might look fine, maybe even happy. But inside, you're fighting wars that no one knows about. Let's start with anxiety. It's not just stress before an exam. It's waking up every morning with your heart already racing. It's second-guessing every assignment, every answer, every decision. It's sitting in a lecture, but not hearing a word because your brain won't stop screaming, "What if I fail? What if I'm not enough?" Then there's burnout. You know the feeling when you've been working for weeks, pushing through sleepless nights, pouring every ounce of energy into school. And suddenly, you just can't anymore. Your body is there, but your mind has checked out. Even simple tasks feel impossible. You're too tired to study, too tired to care, too tired to even get out of bed. And then comes depression, that heavy, suffocating weight. It's not just being sad, it's losing interest in everything you used to enjoy. It's isolating yourself from friends. It's staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering what the point of any of this even is. It's smiling in front of others while quietly breaking inside. But here's the cruel part. Most of the time, no one notices. You don't want to bother anyone. You don't want to be seen as weak, so you hide it. You laugh when you want to cry. You say, "I'm fine," when you're anything but. And that's what makes it so painful. Because you could be surrounded by people every single day and still feel completely alone. But let me tell you something. You're not the only one. The silent battles you fight, millions of students fight them too. They just don't talk about it. And maybe that's the problem. We've created a culture where struggle is hidden, where vulnerability feels like failure. But the truth is, asking for help is not weakness. It's survival. If you've ever felt anxious, burned out, or depressed, I want you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And being human means carrying scars, fighting battles, and sometimes needing help. So please don't keep it all inside. Talk to someone, a friend, a counselor, anyone who will listen, because your pain deserves to be heard. You deserve to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, by opening up about your silent battles, you'll help someone else realize they're not alone either. So here we are. We've talked about the pressure, the sleepless nights, the heartbreak, the fear of the future, the silent battles that no one ever sees. We've walked through the pain that every student carries but rarely speaks about. And if you're still watching this, I want to say one thing. I'm proud of you, not because you have perfect grades, not because you have your life figured out, but because you're still here, still pushing, still fighting through the noise, even when it feels impossible. Being a student isn't just about getting a degree. It's about surviving the storms, learning who you are, and finding the courage to keep going when everything inside you wants to give up. And let me tell you something important. You are not behind. You are not a failure. You are not alone. Life is not a race, no matter how much it feels like it. Everyone's timeline is different. Some people graduate and figure it all out quickly. Some take years to find their path. Both are okay. Both are valid. So if you're tired, rest. If you're scared, breathe. If you're lost, remember it's not permanent. This chapter of your life may be hard, but it's not the whole story. There are brighter days ahead, even if you can't see them yet. There will be laughter again, peace again, joy again. And every step you take, no matter how small, is leading you closer. So don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. And don't give up on the version of you that's fighting so hard to keep going. Because one day, you'll look back at this moment, the stress, the struggle, the sleepless nights, and you'll realize it made you stronger. It shaped you. It taught you resilience you didn't even know you had. So hold on, keep going. You've got this. And no matter what happens, never forget, you are enough. Exactly as you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if no one has told you today, I believe in you.